Please welcome the President and CEO of the Leadership Conference, Vanita Gupta.
Thank you all. Gosh, what an amazing, incredible room. I want to just start by thanking our dinner co-chairs and sponsors and the dinner committee and the boards of the Leadership Conference and the Education Fund, along with my dear board chairs, Judy Lickman and Bill Robinson. And I want to acknowledge distinguished members of Congress and other elected officials that are here tonight, and also my former boss and dear friend, Sally Yates, who is in the audience today. And the servers tonight are members of Local 25 of Unite Here. Thank you. And I want to thank each and every one of you, members of our nation's Civil and Human Rights Committee. I also want to acknowledge my pillars of support who are here tonight in this room, my mother and my husband and my eldest son, Chethan. Thank you for everything you do. One year ago, I stood before you to reflect on our new reality and pledge to lead this extraordinary coalition through the uncertain days ahead. I was 2 weeks away from assuming the helm of the Leadership Conference and succeeding the amazing and iconic Wade Henderson, who is also here this evening. I have been deeply honored to lead the Leadership Conference alongside an incredible staff and a coalition that has been working around the clock through turbulent and challenging times. I couldn't have predicted the year we would have. I distinctly remember the evening of August 25th, 2017. Within an hour, the President of the United States pardoned Sheriff Joe Arpaio and operationalized the ban on transgender people in the military. And this news came as we were still reeling from the President's refusal to unequivocally condemn white supremacists who had been marching in his name in Charlottesville. And it came as we were bracing for the rescission of DACA, which the administration announced just 10 days later. But I can't forget the way that I felt that night in August. I can't forget feeling as if the lighthouse guiding our democracy was growing dim, as if our nation's sense of moral direction was lost. Our nation's moral direction is lost when 1980s criminal justice policies resurface and we retreat from police reform. Our moral direction is lost when a vision of America takes hold that is narrow and anti-immigrant. Our moral direction is lost when protections for students with disabilities are stripped from schools and when labor unions and working people's rights are eroded. Our moral direction is lost when the LGBTQ community is attacked and when women's rights and control of our bodies face renewed threats. Our moral direction is lost when the Department of Housing and Urban Development says it's going to triple the rent of our poorest public housing tenants 2 weeks after we commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act. And our moral direction is lost when children are torn from their parents' arms and placed in detention facilities. The rollbacks of civil rights and human rights this past year are heartless and heartbreaking, and they've been relentless. And in recent days, the harms to our communities have escalated to an all-out attack on our democracy. Voter suppression is barring Americans from the ballot box. The free press is mocked and ridiculed. Judges are personally impugned for their ethnicity in upholding the Constitution. And the federal courts are being swiftly remade with extremist judges. Tomorrow, on the 64th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education, 3 nominees who refused to say that that decision was correctly decided could advance to lifetime appointments on the federal bench. And recently, the administration announced plans to weaponize the 2020 census by adding an unprecedented question on citizenship status. None of this is normal, and none of it is acceptable. Now more than ever, it falls to the rest of us to defend our fragile progress and fight for civil and human rights and an inclusive democracy. When the Leadership Conference's founders, a cross-section of African American, Jewish, and labor leaders, came together in 1950, they knew that the fight for civil rights would not be won by one group alone, but through coalition and solidarity. And from the beginning, we were forged to fight the intractable together. And this past year, we have doubled down on that charter. This work has never been easy, you all know that. But as we fight for the soul of our nation, our power and purpose as a coalition could not be clearer. Millions of people in this country, many of whom never considered themselves activists, have taken up the charge to fight for an America as good as its ideals. Young people are marching for Black lives and gun safety and protections for dreamers. Communities are organizing to re-enfranchise those with felony convictions and with criminal convictions. The private sector is increasingly speaking out by signing amicus briefs, banning bail bond ads, and ending the financing of military-style guns. Teachers are organizing for decent wages and better schools. And they're doing it in Arizona, in West Virginia, in Oklahoma, in North Carolina, and Kentucky. Voters of color are rejecting hate and voting their values in Virginia and Alabama, where Black women led the way. Members of this coalition are challenging racially discriminatory voter ID laws, the Muslim ban, and racial bias in the allocation of disaster relief funding. We defeated the Pence-Kobach Voter Suppression Commission. We mobilized to protect health care for millions. We're fighting in the courts and in Congress, in the streets, in the media, in state legislatures, and in our communities. This work is bigger than any one of us or any one of our organizations. It's a movement inspired by the masses, a movement that is fueled by love, a movement that is driven by justice and a demand for an America that we know we all deserve. That's why, despite all the challenges that we're facing today, I remain deeply hopeful about our future. Which brings me to tonight's amazing honorees, dreamers, Cecile Richards and Tarana Burke. These leaders have changed and will continue to change America. Dreamers have shown us the power of young leaders coming together to fight for freedom for immigrants and all communities of color. And though the fight is far from over, The Leadership Conference will be with you every step of the way. The destiny of dreamers is the destiny of America. And Cecile, the fierce and now former president of Planned Parenthood, who has devoted her entire career to insisting on women's rights, from access to health care, to agency over our own bodies, to our ability to live fully and safely and freely in every corner of this country. And Tarana, who's through her lifelong activism and founding of the Me Too movement, is elevating the voices and experiences of women who are survivors of sexual violence, especially women and girls of color. Because of Tarana's work, America has been moved to an era of unprecedented reckoning. It's not just a statutory reckoning or a legal one or a regulatory one. This is a moral reckoning. And so, to all dreamers, to Cecile and to Tarana, I say thank you. Thank you for your tenacity. Thank you for your spirit and your fundamental belief in an America as good as its ideals. Tonight we hold space for the pain and sometimes unbearable weight that we carry in this work. But we're also here to celebrate each other, to celebrate community, to celebrate the coalition, to celebrate love over fear, and to celebrate women. Because let's be honest, women are leading the way. Now is not the time to sit on the sidelines. As Dolores Huerta, the amazing civil rights and labor leader and past Humphrey Award recipient, she once said, every moment is an organizing opportunity. Every person a potential activist. Every minute a chance to change the world. Freedom always prevails, but not because it's inevitable. Freedom prevails because we stand boldly and bravely in the way of injustice, because we make trouble, and because even in the darkest of days, we are organizing, we are fighting, we are leading. Together, we will keep this lighthouse aglow, and we will win. Thank you all. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanita. We are all so inspired by your leadership, and we are so fortunate to have Vanita at the helm of this organization in these challenging times. And in the face of great challenge, in the face of profound uncertainty, thousands of young people are stepping up to hold America to its promise of fairness and opportunity. In the face of incredible obstacles, they refuse to be deterred from pursuing the bright futures that they deserve. And in the face of intolerance at the highest levels, their remarkable courage and tenacity has built collective power to ensure that we have an America as good as its ideals. For a small glimpse of the grit, the heart, and the hope of the first Hubert H. Humphrey Civil and Human Rights Awardee of the night, please direct your attention to this video highlighting the 3.6 million young people known simply as Dreamers.
Dreamers personify the highest American values and ideals. They are America. For their work uniting us on higher moral ground, the Leadership Conference honors dreamers with the Hubert H. Humphrey Civil and Human Rights Award for selfless and devoted service in the cause of equality.
It's our duty to fight for our freedom! It is our duty to fight for our freedom! It is our duty to...
Dreamers are our friends, neighbors, our co-workers.
There's a Latino American community, there's also the African community, and then there's the Asian community.
I am a DACA recipient. My status expires next year. It impacts us day to day, but it also impacts the people that are close to us. I worry about when will be that day that I get a call that my family is being detained, that someone had a broken taillight and they were pulled over, and that begins the pain and the suffering. My name is Jonathan J. Screen, and I'm the co-founder and director of the Undocu Black Network.
The Department of Homeland Security is taking steps to lift the shadow of deportation from these young people.
DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, the program was implemented by President Obama. It came to be because of the pressure that immigrant young people across the country pushed the past administration to concede this program that allowed undocumented young people who had come to the country before the age of 16 to be shielded from deportation and also have a work permit. And those two seemingly small things could really change someone's life.
Attacks on dreamers, attacks on immigrants, this deportation machinery that is moving forward will have a tremendous negative impact on our economy. They are doctors, nurses, home care workers, nursing home workers, maintenance workers, janitors, adjunct professors, fast food workers. It is very important that we erase the myth that immigrants take away jobs. They create jobs. And not only that, they make our economy better.
If you look at the hard data, we know that immigrants today, just like immigrants in the past, have contributed to this country and are making this country even that much better. The Trans-Pacific Railroad would not have been possible without Chinese immigrants working here in the United States. Even though many of them were not citizens, yet they believed enough in that project and believed enough in the American ideals. And to connect them at the Golden Spike back in the 1860s is just wonderful to see. When you think about dreamers, I have to admit that I take it personally because I actually was at one point undocumented. I did not have a path to citizenship until the 1986 Immigration Reform and Control Act, an act that came about because of coalitions such as the Leadership Conference. One of the wonderful things about working with the Dreamers and working in this current environment, if there's anything wonderful about the current environment, is the coalitions that we have built.
Whether it's been building coalitions with the Asian American Pacific Islander community last year, and that work is ongoing, any opportunity that we get to actually build meaningful relationships and then allow those who are directly impacted to lead the strategy, to lead the policy agenda, to lead the way in which we see liberation for ourselves, I think that's when the transformative work happens.
Please join me in welcoming some of these inspiring individuals to the stage. From United We Dream, from Undocu Black, and from AAJC, Asian Americans Advancing Justice.
Good evening. My name is Raymond Partolin. It is an honor and a privilege to be standing on this stage and accepting this award on behalf of undocumented youth all across the country. Dreamers, as we are so often called, have faced seemingly insurmountable obstacles to the fulfillment of our highest human potential, especially today. To the Leadership Conference, thank you. From the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate this distinct recognition. You see, almost 10 years ago, if you had asked me if I ever saw myself accepting an award of this caliber on behalf of hundreds of thousands of people just like me, I would have told you were crazy. In 2009, when I was a junior in high school, I tried to take my own life. As an undocumented person, a so-called illegal alien, I had lost all hope. College was a bleak prospect, and I couldn't get a driver's license. And on top of that, I didn't have the courage nor the safety net that DACA now provides to be able to share as openly as I do tonight. Now, thankfully, I survived. And at that moment, I made it my mission to do everything I could to advocate for people like me. I wanted people like me to know that they were not alone. That they were not alone in this struggle, and that together we will get through this. Now, when the federal government tries to bury us, telling us that we do not belong here in the only place that we've ever called home, we say, enough is enough. We are here to fight until every single one of the 11 million undocumented people that call this country home has a reasonable pathway to citizenship. Now, before I close, I want to thank my parents for everything that they have ever done for me. All of the sacrifices, all of the pain and the suffering, the long hours at work, just so that my brothers and I could have a better life. Mom, Dad, you are the original dreamers, and all of this is for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to stay, and we will continue to fight until our communities are safe from the threat of deportation. When they tried to bury us, they did not know that we were seeds. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Jace Green, and I'm the co-founder of the Undocu Black Network. We are a multi-generational network of undocumented Black people across the country. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to the Leadership Conference CEO, Vanita Gupta, and the team for this incredible award for undocumented young people today. This political moment we are in has been so painful, difficult, and at times even deadly to our vulnerable populations. Our immigrant communities are under attack each and every day. But the same way that forces of evil are determined to criminalize our communities and our families, we as undocumented young people are determined to fight back. We are fighting back for the justice that our community is owed. Fight back for the dignity that is inherently ours. And fight back for the freedom that we know is coming. And as such, we can't forget to uplift the role that race plays in immigration. There is no immigrant justice without racial justice in this country. And we will continue to uplift the targeting of Black undocumented immigrants, of Muslim immigrants, of queer and trans immigrants, our parents, TPS holders, until we are all free. Thank you so much.
How you doing? ¿Cómo están? Buenas noches. Good evening. My name is Greisa Martinez Rosas. I serve as the Deputy Executive Director of United We Dream. Thank you. With me are my brothers and sisters all across the country. We are grateful for this recognition and honored to break bread with so many people that have devoted their lives to organizing for justice. To Cecile Richards and Tarana Burke, thank you, sisters. Tonight's honor is well-deserved for you, and you are an inspiration to our collective movement. Gracias. We would also like to thank Vanita Gupta. Sister, your leadership of this space it has us in awe, and we're all really grateful to have you. I am so honored to be standing shoulder to shoulder with this amazing group of immigrant young people. We have put our bodies on the line to save our families and to save our democracy. We are here to stay. We are undocumented. They know where I was going. We are undocumented, unafraid, and here to stay. But tonight, sisters and brothers, we are also outraged. Just today, Donald Trump, in a conversation about immigration policy, said, when talking about immigrants, he said, they are not people, they are animals. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States is a racist madman. This racist dog whistle is disgusting. And everyone in this room knows that this sort of language has been used generation after generation to criminalize, arrest, and kill Black and brown people in this country. My friends, we will not stand for it. Over the last year, immigrant youth have put our bodies on the line to save our families and to save our democracy. And in city after city, immigrant youth have left school and work and our families to call for a Clean Dream Act, to ensure that we call for deportations to stop. We came from Alaska, from North Dakota, from Montana, and Texas. I had to put a plug in for my state. We took over congressional buildings, emptied out high schools, and empowered young people of color all across the country. We fight so hard because we know that our struggle is bigger than the DREAM Act, because we know that the men who want to build more immigration detention camps are the same men that want to build more prisons to lock Black and brown people up. We know that the same men who want to have workplace raids, they're the same men who want to stop collective bargaining. We know that white supremacy and the violent suppression of people of color is a doctrine of the Trump administration. They want to push us off the voting rolls, lock us away in prisons, and drag us in detention camps, and to deport us all by the millions. They want to silence our voices by any means necessary. Now, I'm not gonna lie. The times we are living, they're terrifying, and they're terrifying by design. So we've got to dig deep, because the power to resist and the power to win is inside each and every one of us. And the truth is that the white supremacists are tightening their grip. But let me tell you another truth, sisters and brothers. You want to hear it? The next truth is that there is a great awakening happening all across the country. And that all of us, organizers, leaders, and advocates must all work together to inspire and resist. Tonight, I'm in awe of Jonathan, of Raymond, of my sisters and brothers all behind me, because together we are creating new possibilities. We are creating a new America. And because we are here to stay, we are here to fight, and we're gonna fight with everything we've got. Now, I have a question for you. Are you ready for the question? Are you ready? Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to win? I believe you. And you know what? I want to be very clear to Donald Trump and anyone who supports his agenda that the reason why we fight is because we are somebody. And we deserve